Okay, I'm here today with the curator and writer for the project Buried Sun, or Zakopane Słońce, which is prepared for the Warszawa Biennale, Aleksandra Jach. It's a pleasure to be sitting here with you today. So maybe to start out, you can just give a brief introduction or just talk a little bit about this webdoc, Zakopane Słońce.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Katie. Buried Sun is a webdoc which can be watched online on the website www.buriedsun.com. Mm-hmm. And it's you can see there not only the film we made with Michał Dąbrowski, who is my main co-author, but also to listen to a wonderful audio track and read the materials which develop different topics which are the part of the film.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly, and the film is about fossil fuels.
Yes,
focusing primarily on the oil industry, and this really short evolution that we've had in consuming fossil fuels and our human relationship to fossil fuels. So maybe before we kind of talk about the content, you can talk a little bit about the aesthetics of the docu, because I think when I was watching this, like immediately I was struck by the meditative quality of it, and so maybe you can share a little bit about what drove the aesthetics for the piece and take it from there.
Mm-hmm. So when we were preparing to this project, we were thinking about using online materials. I'm a huge fan of Adam Curtis, British filmmaker who was working for the BBC for a long time. I was really inspired by this way of thinking about the images. So when we start to discuss with Michał how we would like to approach the
images are very rhythmic, like very kind of they just have this nice cycle to them in his films, I think, right? It's very much more like an art piece. So the structure of the docu is very much based in Adam Curtis's documentary style.
I think that at some point, yes, but I think we did something, in the end, we did something different.
Yeah, because, for sure.
Of course, his resources and his skills and his way of thinking about images is different.
Totally.
Yeah, but what was the most inspiring for me in Adam Curtis at the beginning of work with Michał Dąbrowski was this really strong images, really strong music, and the way of thinking about the rhythm as if it was a video clip, music.
Exactly.
Music. And of course, our film is slower than most of the films of Adam Curtis. But I think that it's also related with the text I've written. Yeah, because this was the starting point for us. Yeah, I wrote the texts. Which was a kind of a base to think about images and about the music, and in the text when you read it loud, it already has this kind of meditative rhythm, as you said,
and then it's kind of further reinforced by also the lens that we see. You know, we're focusing not on, you know, this like 16:9 format of you know, contemporary video, but we're looking through a circular lens, which of course echoes this idea of the sun, and but also this very, again, reinforcing a peaceful holistic kind of gentle attitude, and the sound as well.
To frame the images through the circle, which for us is the sun, this the symbol of the sun. This was one of the ideas Michał proposed at the very beginning of our work, because we were thinking about like also the way how people will be watching all of these materials, and of course we for us it was obvious that it will be watched on mobile phones mostly, or on notebooks or computers, personal computers, but at home in a small size, sometimes or very often even not in a full size. So this is also a kind of a reference to this way of our like the frames we are looking at when we approach this kind of materials. We use images from which are from public archives. All these are stock images. They depict things or scenes, people in action, but it's not something very specific. We didn't film any additional material for this project, and this is also part of our thinking about how it should look like. Because recycled materials, recycled images, this is something what was also important for us when you think about online formats. And we just thought that we don't need to add any visual material to what is already in the internet, in the public archives, or in the places in the sources from which we can take something to our film. So we're all together with Michał great fans of recycling.
And I mean, and it works so well here, because I think that also is what really helps contribute to that meditative quality, is that it's familiar, so you can let yourself fall into it, but you're not trying to find you in it. You're not trying to find like these little points that really speak individually. It's, it is about this bigger picture. It is about this very short but very full story that is super intensely consequential. So like while like you have this intense heaviness of the subject, of course it's such a beautiful balance between this almost surreal and very disquieting meditative state. We're consuming these really intense stories.
And I just want to add that for my text and for the music, this idea of recycling and trying to build narration on what is around. This was also very important. And when I was writing the text, obviously I was digging into different materials related with energy transitions, cultures of energy, and I was really inspired by the different thinkers in this field. So on the website, when you are watching the film, from time to time you see small boxes in the bottom of the image, and you can click on them, and you can follow sources which were important for me when I was writing the text, because the biggest difficulties for me when it comes to writing about this project was how to synthesize all this knowledge related with energy transitions, energy revolutions. So one of the idea was to mix sources which are more academic, more taken from literature, or my way of thinking about how thinking about energy is part of our life.
Actually, and branching off of that, one of the first stories is something that really struck me. And the first kind of, when I was first watching the piece, it felt curious to me. Like it still stuck with me as I was watching, as the documentary unfolded. And it, you know, the way that it fit into the entire piece started to make it revealed itself. But I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about this first story that we see in the docu, where you're talking about the Chilean miners. Can you talk about why you included the story and kind of how that sits in the bigger spectrum for you?
Mm-hmm. So this is the story which was told by Hector Tobar in his book about the catastrophe in one of the gold and silver mines in Chile. Mm-hmm. I read the story several years ago, mm-hmm. and it stuck with me, mm-hmm. Until we were preparing Buried Sun, yeah. Because the miners spent underground, I forgot precisely how much time, but it was approximately 2 months. Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they were rescued in the end, but they spent a lot of time underground. And after several weeks, they were found by a rescue team, mm-hmm. But it wasn't possible to get them out from the mine. But fortunately, they found a way to provide them food through mm-hmm. Small, like a kind of a pipe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they drill a hole and through this
so they could
pipe,
survive.
Yeah. Through this
mm-hmm.
Things they were passing them.
It was the communication.
Yes,
with
this was also communication.
The world.
Yeah. But so on the one hand, this they could survive because they had food, they had water, they had films, games, different things. Yeah. But they were in a place without a sun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the biggest problems was the fungus, mm-hmm. which was everywhere, mm-hmm. and it was growing on their skin as well. Yeah. Because the skin lost protection. This is a story about really how we strongly need a sun, mm-hmm. solar energy, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How we are solar species, mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But sun, about we talk in a film, mm-hmm. As a buried sun also. Yeah, it's not only the sun which is helping us to survive. This is also the sun which will be or is already hurtful for many people, mm-hmm. in different parts of the world because of climate crisis. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this is also buried sun, so solar energy, mm-hmm. which is stuck in the organic matter, mm-hmm. Which was buried underground for millions of years, mm-hmm. and it became gas, coal, mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. and oil. Yeah, mm-hmm. So this opening story is the story about the sun, which is really needed. Which is really, we are looking for this moment when we come out from this mine, and mm-hmm. we will be exposed on the sun. Mm-hmm. But mm-hmm. when we are already on the surface, mm-hmm. The other things are we lose that sense, and the other things are operating.
Mm-hmm. But also, for me it was really interesting too, because and I think this is something that gets talked about a lot in relationship to the climate crisis or the energy crisis, is that there's such global problems that it's hard to feel the effects in the everyday, unless you're like this weekend living in Los Angeles and it's suddenly 50 degrees Celsius, like, so we have these instances where we kind of feel the effects, but you still you don't have this A, B equals C equation, you know, but like this story of the miners really for me felt like this very individual, personal, you know, metaphor for how our relationship to these issues.
The story is about digging out the energy from the underground, yeah, because one of the main, let's say, plots in a film is about how we think about fossil fuels and renewables, and fossil fuels are for us more related with something dirty, something toxic, something dangerous. We dig out them from underground.
We mine them, we dig them, we unearth them,
Yes. And with renewables, and many of us think that it's not like that. That
we harvest, we cultivate,
So we don't
harness.
Yes, exactly. So we don't have mines. Wind mines. We have wind farms, solar farms, or wind parks. So it's more related with agricultural discourse, and this notion of clean, green, and free energy is really something which is surrounding us, and many of us think about renewables like that. So our idea was not to show that renewables are bad, because we think that really needs energy transition, and this transition to renewables is really great. But it's still industry, and we still have to think about what can happen if we will be thinking about this renewable energy the same way as we thought about fossil fuel industry,
because our consumption levels, we're not addressing our consumption levels.
Yes.
Which in the documentary it was something like we should use 2,000 watts per year, but the average American uses 12,000 watts, something like this.
Exactly. We refer to the idea of Swiss scientists. They propose in 90s that maybe we should rethink our energy consumption, and they calculated that 2,000 watts per year is really
sufficient.
Sufficient for people to run their daily life. Of course, it's you cannot fly. It's beyond this energy budget. This is too much.
It's almost half the energy budget in like one transcontinental flight or something. So, for the year.
Yes. So, but on the other hand, maybe the way we were thinking for a long time about travels should be changed. And pandemic, COVID pandemic showed us that we can live without travels or so many travels, or it's also great to build your life locally, and to think about
as long as we have the internet.
As long as we have internet. This is the other part of energy consumption, because it's also a problem. But this is this 2,000 watt concept is only one of the concepts you can think of when you wanna inspire people to think differently about energy consumption. You can imagine also, I know, huge part of human population who doesn't have any electricity at home, and will not watch our film. But more importantly, they don't have lights at home. They cannot do many things which are obvious for us. So the conclusion of the film is not very optimistic. Yeah, we are trying to be more, I know, realists. Yeah. We are in a climate crisis, and this is a very new challenge for humanity. So there are some ideas, solutions, technologies we can think of, but it would not be easy.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time to talk about this really, really beautiful piece that you and Michał have put together, along with the rest of the Biennale Warszawa team. So thank you.
Thank you. And I have to say that our team is bigger, but you find all their names on the website. Thanks a lot, Katie.
Thank you, Ola.